Radix omnium malorum avaritia. Hello everyone, this is the Fifth Eye Gamer. Today, I'm going to talk about a hot button subject that recently passed along the internet, which I'm pretty sure all of us on YouTube are in some capacity familiar with. That concept, if you haven't guessed by now, is fair use, or as I choose to call it, unfair use. The general concept behind fair use is thus: it exists as a check and balance, if you will, to copyright law. It allows people to, in some limited degree, utilize copyright material without the necessary permissions, mostly in regards to review, commentary, education, or satire. You know what most folks who make their living on YouTube do on a regular basis, whether it relate to Mr. Ender's cartoon reviews, the myriad movie reviews of Doug Walker, the Quar Guys countdowns, Omega Snake's boss strategies, or all of the myriad Let's Plays that roam the internet, ranging from PokeCaptain's legendary Sonic 06 Let's Play, to the professionally recorded Let's Plays of Team 4-Star, all the way down to the small-scale, non-profit ventures by the likes of yours truly. The purpose behind fair use, then, is to allow an individual to impress upon a copyrighted material while still maintaining the integrity of the material in question. If freedom of speech is an inalienable right of the common man in view of the government, then fair use is its sister law which allows the common man to express itself freely before entertainment and corporate interests. As such, a person is allowed through fair use to make videos showing how they experience video games, to share their multiplayer trials and tribulations, or talk at length about how popular culture shapes them, using examples from cartoons, games, and film. Uploading wholly unaugmented videos to the internet, on the other hand, is not fair use, and may in fact be detrimental to the original creator, whether by stealing away revenue for media sales, or by robbing views that the original video creator could be using to expand their channel. While the road to hell is paved with good intentions, I won't condone someone who just blatantly copies the video of another without some form of written consent. It's why I put the whole non-profit, fan-based project, X's copyright Y, original release spiel at the start of my videos and in the description text for all my videos where I actually do this kind of work. I want to make it clear that I'm doing my own thing with this particular work, but also that I respect the original creative team's work enough that I want those who watch my videos, however few there are, to legally acquire the source media and experience the original product themselves. Ask any other creator on YouTube. They're probably the same way. However, the problem with unfair use is quite the opposite from what was presented. There are some creators and corporations who get too trigger-happy with issuing litigation, and with YouTube's copyright protection engine on autopilot, there's hardly a human interaction involved. And as Doug Walker himself noted, alongside several others, there is no functional limit to the copyright flagging process, whereas the limitations for the creators being targeted are vast at best and insufferable at worst. Not only does the burden fall upon the defendant, whenever the copyright protection engine flags a video as having copyrighted content, but said flags can also impair the defendant's ability to profit from their own work, since the ability to monetize one's videos requires good standing with YouTube's engine, as are other vital features like publishing videos over 15 minutes long, something which I'm sure is vital to the trade, and the ability to contest copyright claims, which even the least justified copyright strike can outright annul. Let me segue into this next bit. A copyright strike is the next step of a copyright content flag, when a company or creator decides that you're using their copyright material in an illegal manner. This includes complete imitations of work, which I stated is not in fair use, but could also extend to use of material that exceeds the scope of fair use. Artist Jeff Koons once tried to use the Puppies photograph created by Art Rogers as part of his satire on society at large, and was subsequently struck down by the courts. that is when fair use is being used, well, fairly. But more often than not, we get corporations being overprotective of their work. Even well-appreciated companies like Capcom and Nintendo can get a bit too trigger-happy when protecting their work, something which I experienced firsthand, and that's when the company or creator is being something resembling responsible. Others, like Mr. Enter's fabled nemesis Viacom, tend to take the idea of someone using their creative work to justifiably criticize it, the same way a vial of nitroglycerin takes a trip into a tumble dryer. I'm going to levy the same advice to YouTube in regards to fair use that I gave Nintendo regarding its Malign Creators program. There's nothing stopping large-scale companies like the aforementioned, and small-time curmudgeons like myself from making videos to post to YouTube, but if we're the only ones doing it, then something's gone horribly wrong. Actually, I take that back. There is something that can stop small-time curmudgeons from making videos to post to YouTube. Imagine you're a person who wants to start making cartoon reviews like Mr. Enter, or criticizing the foibles of gaming like Yahtzee, or even sharing your gaming experiences like yours truly. You get inspired by these people, and you pick up your little camera or your parents' recording equipment and decide to do your own work. But lo and behold, almost the day you get ready to put your work up, you get word that the person who inspired you has just had their channel terminated because of unfair use. What I'm trying to say is, with so many obstacles to the things we do on YouTube, the myriad flaws of the copyright protection engine, and the lack of obstacles for trigger-happy litigators and third-party flagging companies, it's far easier for a scenario like that to scare off potential YouTube creators than it is to attract them. And for a company as large as YouTube, that could cause far more harm than good in the long run. What I'm trying to say is, whenever unfair use rears its ugly head and fair use is questioned, everyone suffers. The distributor companies, like YouTube itself, get a tainted reputation for siding with predatory companies and creators who exploit fair use law to lock down the smaller creators for reasons that range from overzealousness in their protective practices to sheer spite over an unfavorable opinion. Some companies themselves get their own reputation tarnished for committing these practices in the first place and stifling creativity on the internet. And arguably the biggest victims themselves, the small-scale creators like myself and many others, lose out on the viewership and fan base that they need for the channel to grow when the work is flagged fairly or otherwise. When said creators start needing YouTube to make a living, like Doug Walker himself, said lost viewership and fan base translates into lost money that they could otherwise use to sustain and expand their operations. It's no wonder people like Team 4-Star resort to Patreon for ancillary funding. Who wants to live below minimum wage or conditions like that? In a world where large companies and corporations exploit the almighty dollar to curry public favor, the only way the common man can fight back is to believe the more it hurts them reduce the revenue they are otherwise able to obtain. Best way to do that, apparently, is to smuggle their dirty laundry from incidents like this and throw it out there for the world to see. And I dare say it is criminal that such actions are even necessary in the first place. I probably sound like the last person who should be arguing about this, considering I haven't even gotten a copyright strike on my work. But if someone like me is making a video on this subject, then the subject in question is worth fighting for. Anyway, that should cover everything on the subject. This has been the Fifth Eye Gamer. And YouTube, I want you to pay close attention to me. Where's the fair use?